Red Sparrow is directed by Francis Lawrence and stars Jennifer Lawrence. No, they're not related. And I saw this film quite a few days ago. I've just been very busy, didn't get a chance to review it yet until now. And this film is basically about a ballerina, a Russian ballerina played by Jennifer Lawrence, who, after many situations and happenings, is forced to become a spy for the Russian government called a Sparrow or a Red Sparrow. And then she has to, uncover a mystery which involves the CIA and a CIA agent played by Joel Edgerton. And here we get a film that has been pretty polarizing because some people have been saying that this movie is absolutely horrible, it goes too far, it's too violent, it's too extreme. And some people have been saying that, yes, it is pretty violent, pretty extreme, but it still works as a film, and I do agree. There are things about this film that do work very well, and there are things about this film which don't work very well. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I like first. Francis Lawrence here shows us that he is a brilliant visual director. The cinematography in this film is absolutely gorgeous. Just like every scene is just so beautifully shot. The score here by James Newton Howard is great. And I have to say that the one thing that I love about this film is just how real it feels. Now, there aren't like any proper action fight scenes, but when there are fights, they are shot and edited in a way that it just feels so real, so visceral, so raw. And that's one of the things I like very much about this film, is that it feels very real, very grounded. There are, of course, like overly dramatic moments, but for the most part, especially in these fight scenes, they are done very, very well. And I think we should talk about some of the violence in this film. That's one of the things that most people have been talking about. It is very violent. It's not like your Quentin Tarantino extreme sort of comic violence where, when you shoot someone, they just kind of explode in blood. This is more the Nicholas Winding Refn type violence, where it's very sort of gory, but it's still very realistic. And, I watch a lot of films, and I know my violence, but this is one of the more violent films I've seen. It's rated 15 in England. Here in England, they don't have like PG-13 rated R, they have like 12, 15, 18. And this is probably the most extreme 15 I've ever seen. I was surprised it wasn't an 18. It is very violent, and it does sort of push the limits a bit. But I do have to commend that level of ambition. And I think that this extreme violence actually contributes to making the film feel a lot more realistic and a lot more dark, which is something I think the story definitely needed. Now let's talk about some of the performances. Jennifer Lawrence here is great as always. I mean, saying Jennifer Lawrence is good in a movie is like saying Daniel Day-Lewis is good in a movie. She's really great in this film. Her Russian accent isn't always 100% there, but for the most part I think it really works. And her character is pretty fascinating, but I feel like the character kind of falls into that trap of being way too smart to be realistic. I mean, when you have these spy films, you kind of have all these different double crosses and who's stabbing who in the back and stuff like that. And here I do think that it is a little bit overdone sometimes. Her character can be a little bit too smart, but there are many humanizing moments, and you do get to sort of spend a lot of time with this character as she develops. But overall, I thought Jennifer Lawrence was great, and she definitely gave a performance that was very brave and very daring, because some of the stuff she does and some of the stuff she has to go through in this film, many actors wouldn't do. Joel Edgerton is also brilliant, as always. He's, in my opinion, been one of Hollywood's most underrated actors. He's also a director. He directed The Gift, which is a brilliant film. You should check that out. But no, he gives a great performance in this film. In fact, the rest of the cast give really good performances. But mainly, it's just Jennifer Lawrence and Joel Edgerton. They're the two main characters here. But yeah, no, I thought that all the performances throughout were great. Now, if we're talking about some of the problems I have with this film, number one is it's way too long. Red Sparrow is 2 hours and 20 minutes long. This film could easily have been 1 hour and 50. They could have cut out a lot of scenes from this film. Also, there's this one scene with Mary Louise Parker, which I thought was just in there for no reason, and it didn't work at all. It was just like you're watching this really, really serious film, and then suddenly you just have this one like strange comedic scene for no reason. It didn't work at all. And personally, I just feel that the film is more of the same. You've already seen films like this, where you have like a cool female lead who double crosses other people, and you have like the male spy. I mean, we literally saw this film done in a more entertaining, action-packed way a couple months back with Atomic Blonde. And I do think that Atomic Blonde is a better film because it's so much more stylish and so much more fun. You have these great action scenes which make it so memorable. And with Red Sparrow, you don't really have any of that, but it is a beautifully shot film. I am pretty impressed with Francis Lawrence as a director. Jennifer Lawrence gives a brilliant performance as always. It's just a shame that sometimes the story and the pacing doesn't work very well. I'm going to give Red Sparrow a B. Guys, thank you very much for watching. As always, thank you.